I'm down at the boat late for an early start tomorrow for what will be my longest solo trip to date. The plan is to go north up the coast to Teignmouth. It's about 18 miles away. After spending a night on the visitor pontoons there, I'm hoping to come back into Torbay tomorrow and leave the boat at Brixham for a few days. It's high tide at around 7:45 this morning. If Navionics is showing 2 metres at Greenway Quay, I can float at Galmpton, so I'm good to leave till about 12 o'clock this morning. Low tide at Teignmouth is about 1:45. There is no chance of me getting there before that, so the tide is going to be rising all afternoon until a high tide at 8:15. Now, I've never been into Teignmouth, but the book says the sandbars outside shift quite a lot, and we're on springs at the moment, so I definitely don't want to be going at low tide or on a falling tide, but I should expect some strong current taking me in. Winds are forecast to be southerly, starting off really light, well, non-existent actually, and building steadily over the day, reaching the top end of force 4, maybe gusting force 5 by late afternoon. Hopefully I'll be well on my way or even into Teignmouth by then. Forecast for tomorrow is really very light with north and westerly winds, so that should be great for getting back into Torbay. Okay, that's not a good start to my little adventure. The engine packed in about 10 minutes after leaving the dock. I gave it a little pump, checked it over, everything seems fine, and it restarted immediately. Even more concerning, the engine continued to play up and cut out 5 or 6 times in the next few minutes. So I decided to pull in on the visitors' pontoon at Dartmouth to check it out. It didn't take me long to work out what the problem was. A rookie error. I'd forgotten to unscrew the breather on the top of the fuel tank, and it let out a huge hiss as I released it, and the engine was been fine for the rest of the day. Now in the mouth of the river, the entrance to Dartmouth Harbour, so in anticipation of actually getting some wind this morning, it's time to get those sails up. Sea is like a mill pond this morning. And looking back on Dartmouth, it's got to be one of the prettiest entrances to any port in Britain, in my opinion. Time for a slow drift up the coast and listening to those random communications on the VHF.
Ridge will build, with the rain and showers easing off a little. Look forward to Chelsea Bill, 24-hour forecast. 30 or less, then westerly or...
Security, security, all stations, all stations, all stations. This is indicated.
Rest of the village of Mahara, and please could I get some help?
The local hooligans arrived suddenly just to check me out. And I'd gone just as fast. I have no video of what happened next as the card in the GoPro decided to die, so I'll try and explain with the aid of a diagram. The wind and swell were starting to increase, so I jibed into Torbay to get into some flatter water behind Berry Head. My little dolphin encounter was here. I jibed back again to come back out. As I came out, the wind had increased, as had the swell, and I noticed some white water at the north end of the bay. Basically, the strong spring tidal current was sweeping into the bay, and we got a wind over tide situation, and this was causing some overfalls in the channel between the Orstone and Hope's Nose. So I decided to bang another reef in, and to cut a long story short, the forward second reefing line got seriously jammed. I was being thrown about a bit and couldn't sort it out, so I dropped the main completely and carried on through the channel under jib alone. This turned out to be quite serendipitous, as the boat was really docile and we were making 3 knots against quite a strong current. In fact, I carried on under headsail alone, even as the wind and sea state dropped in the lee of the headland, and I went all the way into Teignmouth, getting there about 5 o'clock. Time to go ashore and find some dinner, I think. After dinner and a good night's sleep, I woke up to a glorious morning.
Inshore waters forecast from 12 miles offshore for the period 0600 UTC, Wednesday 19th of July until 0600 UTC.
The plan was to go back down to Brixham and leave the boat there for a few days. For those of you who don't know, one of the joys of having an outboard Mark I shrimper is that there's plenty of room underneath the cockpit flooring for a reasonable sized dinghy. I left at slack water right on the high tide and headed back down the river to the sea. Passing Babbacombe, I slowly crept round into the north end of Tor Bay. This is the Orstone, a big lump of rock that guards the north side of Tor Bay, and it's an awful lot calmer here this morning than it was yesterday afternoon. Apparently the Orstone has a crack, a cave that goes all the way through the centre of it, and at spring low tides kayakers can paddle all the way through. That sounds like a really dumb way to dive to me. Past the Ironstone and Thatcher's Rock, and we're now into Tor Bay, and basically it's a straight run into Brixham. Although we do have to avoid the mussel farms, as it's easy to plough into them if you're not concentrating. Safely moored up in Brixham. It's been a fabulous couple of days, some great sailing. But what have I learned? Well, I need to get a checklist for basic stuff. I keep forgetting things. Certainly engine prep. I had a chance to reef early. I knew it was going to be overfalls around Hope's Nose. I was there busy, distracted by dolphins. I should have banged that reef in when it was in flat water and had all of the time in the world. But I do now know that the Shrimper runs really well with just the head sail. It's really controllable, no chance of accidental jibing. It's a great little boat. As ever, if you made it this far, thank you so much. See you next time.